Now we're going to talk about one of the most horrific events in the history of the world. Something that was going on behind the scenes in many people's minds, but was happening at the same time that Hitler was accomplishing his objectives of taking over parts of Europe. He'd taken over Poland in about 30 days, and he swiftly took over France as well. We're going to talk about the Holocaust. The Holocaust was the genocide of approximately 6 to 9 million European Jews during World War II, a government program of extermination by Nazi Germany. I say 6 to 9 million because I've read about estimates as low as 6 million and as high as 9. The truth is, still today, we find mass graves, usually around Russia and Poland, where you can see in the picture in the bottom right-hand corner, where there are thousands and thousands of bodies of Jewish people that were murdered and put in what's called a mass grave, where they just dig a gigantic hole, and you can see how far back it goes, and just throw the bodies in there. That's how many people they were killing so quickly. The Nuremberg Laws, it starts with the Nuremberg Laws that took away Jewish and German citizenship and made it illegal to marry a Jewish person. Not only was it illegal, people went to jail for just kissing a Jewish person on the lips or on the cheek. People would oust you. They would go after you. They would snitch on you and be like, "Oh, this guy loves Jews." And even if it wasn't true or not, you'd be taken away if you're a German person or from another country for loving a Jewish person. They're very strict laws. Start with a couple of laws, and then they would wear a band with the Star of David, and it quickly turned into extermination of the Jews, which was Hitler's final goal. Now, one thing we have to understand with the Holocaust is the Holocaust was not just the extermination of the Jewish people. The majority, 6 to 9 million of the people killed in the Holocaust, were of Jewish descent, but other groups are targeted as well. The Nazis also killed people of color, so people of African descent, Asian, Latin American descent, homosexuals, Gypsies, Catholics, and asocials are huge targeted groups. On the bottom left-hand corner, you can see the pink triangle. The pink triangle was sewn on or had to be worn on the uniform of those in camps, or as a band around your arm if you're a homosexual. And you can see in the picture those are several men that are being charged with homosexuality. Gypsies were a group of people that are mobile. They kind of have their own culture. They're nomadic in the sense they're always moving from place to place. They don't really have a real homeland. There's gypsies even in the United States. When I used to work at the university, St. Louis University, we used to have the gypsy caravan every year. And the gypsies would come and sell things in the gym, and people love it. Thousands of people would come to buy things from the gypsies. But they would move all around the country selling things in their caravans. And people used to purchase things back then as well from the gypsies. But they're also an easy group to target because there was not many of them. They were mobile, and people blame things on the gypsies. When I was in Europe, both occasions I've been in Europe, I've heard people, they blame things that the crime and all the bad stuff is because of the gypsies. Got to be very careful. When you start hating or blaming bad things on one group of people, that's to convince people that the other groups don't do anything wrong, like the other Germans. And it makes a common enemy. Again, watch out for the common enemy. When you have people that have political power that preach hatred against groups like homosexuals or gypsies or Catholics, asocials, or Jewish people, very dangerous stuff, but very effective. People like to have someone to hate or blame. Catholics are a group of people that were many were strongly opposed to Hitler. Most Germans were Protestant, so Hitler aligned himself more with the Protestants, but he was also pretty against Christianity because it would challenge many of his ideas that some of the logical things to do was to kill people in the weakest in society, like the handicapped. They would kill elderly people. And actually it was a Catholic, the Bishop of Munich, who led a protest against Hitler during World War II, and a lot of people don't know that, but there was about over 100,000 people that stood up and said they were tired of Hitler having the Nazis exterminate their grandparents and grandmothers. So people would actually show up, believe it or not, to the nursing home, and grandma or grandpa would be gone, and they'd ask questions and be like, "Oh, I guess they just passed away and we had to bury them." And what was really happening, and people were finding out the truth, was the Nazis were having the elderly put onto school buses, sometimes taken out to a field, and they would turn gas on, kill them, and then bury their bodies because they saw the handicap and elderly as a drain on society, and they won't have to pay to take care of these people, and it costs money. Asocials are a very interesting concept. We don't use the term asocials anymore because nobody's going to teach you about them, and nobody really believes in it. But asocial was this idea that if somebody's parents are bad, or the parents did something wrong, that therefore they were going to grow up to be a bad person. So if your father stole a car and was in jail for 5 years for stealing a car, the chances of you stealing a car were incredibly high, according to the ideas of eugenics, which was racial and gene research. And we know now today that's not true at all. Your parents could be not good people at all. They could do wrong things, and you could turn out to be one of the greatest leaders of all times. For example, even Barack Obama, his father basically did not give much attention to him, and he became president of the United States. So it didn't have too much of an impact on him being a great person. Many other people, parents have made wrongful choices that did not affect them. You make your own choices. Now, Nazis started putting these people in concentration camps in 1933. Concentration camp is just where you put a bunch of people all together, squished in a small area. It's like concentrated orange juice. If you ever go to a store, concentrated orange juice is a can where they smash all the oranges frozen together in a can. And you dump the can of juice in water, and it expands. It diffuses, and it makes orange juice. Concentrated orange juice, you have to do that. Regular orange juice, you buy it all together. So you concentrate, you smash the oranges together. Concentration camps is you smash these people together in very confined, small areas. So almost as soon as Hitler had taken power, he started putting people in concentration camps. He also went after people that were against him politically, like the Social Democrats, which are political parties that were against him. He started rounding up anybody who's politically against him, who was a Jewish person, homosexual, gypsies, Catholics, and we said asocials. I'm going to put the attachment video to this, but that was Oprah interviewing Elie Wiesel, and he wrote a famous book called Night, and many of you will read it or have read it in high school. Now, ultimately what this leads to is genocide. Now, genocide is the deliberate killing of a large group of people, especially those from an ethnic group. Genocide has not only happened in Germany with the Nazis and the Jewish people. There's been many times genocide. It doesn't have to be based on race either. It's just targeting a group of people that's usually different from the others. We had genocide in Rwanda over 20 years ago, where you had the Hutu, which were the majority, were ruled by the Tutsis, who were the minority. And Hutu came to power. They killed the Tutsis, 1 million people in just over 100 days. Still today, that country's healing from that genocide. Some people have argued that the bringing of Africans to the New World, to North and South America, was a form of genocide because so many Africans were targeted and died on the ships on the way over and died of mistreatment and being abused in the United States and Latin America. But genocide is a targeting of one group of people by usually the group that's in power. Now, Hitler's final solution, as you can make a prediction, would be to... What do you think Hitler's final solution would be? Final being the last thing he's going to do, and solution is to solve. Well, his final solution, the final thing he's going to do to solve the quote-unquote, what he would have called the Jewish problem, was to kill all the Jews in Europe before the end of World War II. He had even said, if I can't kill them all across the world, I'm going to kill all those in Europe. He came pretty close. 6 to 9 people is even more people, probably a little bit more people than there are in actually Israel, which is the country where most Jewish people live today. That's how many people he killed in only, you're talking 12 years. So let's look. This is a map of Europe before Hitler had eliminated millions of Jews. In Germany itself, when he started the Nuremberg Laws, there's only about 210,000 Jews. Not many at all. I mean, a lot, but not compared to other places. Let's look at the map. What areas of Europe had the highest concentration or highest numbers of Jewish people? Well, the first one you notice obviously is Poland, on the east of Germany. The first country that started World War II when he invaded Poland, there's 3.3 million Jewish people. The Russia had 3.2 million Germans, or Jewish people, and the Germans were going to be ruthless towards them. You had Romania had 850,000, Yugoslavia had 75,000, Austria 60,000, even Italy had 57,000. France had a good number too, 300,000, but Poland and Russia had a lot of Jewish people.